Hello and welcome to Loud Games.
You're gonna come out of the fucking gate with it? All right.
With what? This is how I talk now in my
With
book.
your John Wayne via Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Sex is gonna be weird from now on. You're not using that.
Or it's finally going to be the right way. This is Load Bearing Beams, a movie podcast. I'm Matt Stokes.
And I'm Laci Ross. Married. We're talking sex because we're married.
Yeah, we don't approve of any sex if you're not married. No. Don't even talk about it.
This is a Catholic podcast.
We are Catholic.
We often like to say.
We are in mourning until the catechism
or
the conclave, which can't come soon enough, but we'll get into that another time. Joined on the line by Cinema Chris. Hello, Chris. Welcome to the program.
Hello, everybody.
You brought to us Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof.
Yeah.
Why'd you do that?
Why'd you do that? No.
This is when Laci explained what a load-bearing beam was to me a long time ago. This was the first movie that came to mind, and ever since then, if there was ever a movie that I came on to talk to you guys about, I knew this was the movie and the only movie I cared to do.
Well, why is that?
Well, tell Matt how many times you've seen it in the last week.
I've watched it 6 times since last Tuesday.
Oh my god!
It's his whoopee.
Okay,
it's a comfort movie.
Gotcha. Tell us about your history with it. Well, wait. First of all, tell everybody who is Cinema Chris.
Who you are?
What's your deal, man?
How old are you? Why do you live near Canada?
I do TikTok. That's how I found Laci and Matt, and it was an awesome experience finding them. I'm so happy to have them as friends in my life. I have had a bit of a hiatus from TikTok, but hopefully that is being remedied soon. So if you guys want to find me on TikTok, it is Cinema Chris or Cinema Vault. My history with this movie it's a long one. I watched it a long time ago with my mom when I was probably 10 or 11 years old, and kind of got hooked on it.
Matt's vomiting at the idea of seeing this movie with his mom.
No, not that. It's just, I saw it in theaters. I was 19 when I saw
Pulp Fiction at 10. If I can handle anal rape, can I say those words?
That's not okay.
Is YouTube like that?
I meant
anal
age.
Schmape.
Okay, shut up.
All right.
I think part of what hooked me on the movie was that this movie spawned my first dream job, which was being a stunt car driver for the movies. Which unfortunately has pretty much become a job of the past due to CGI and all that other boring stuff that has ruined fun practical effects in movies. But I think that's a really big reason why it's such a core movie to me, is because it's the first time I ever had a dream job was because of this movie.
Wait, but did you do the job?
Unfortunately not.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait.
I have done really stupid shit in cars because of this movie.
Okay.
But never gotten paid for it.
Pirates and Papers or whatever they call it. Wait,
the masthead? What do they call it?
It's
Ship's Mast.
Ship's Mast. Have you done Ship's Mast?
Yes.
Yeah,
you have?
Multiple times.
Wow.
Have you also done...
in multiple different vehicles.
Ghost Ride That Whip?
Have you Teen Wolfed?
Teen Wolf? No, I've not done that.
Okay, well, don't watch the movie because then you'll do it. So would you call yourself a gearhead?
Oh, most definitely.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Right. I'm like super into cars.
I don't know why.
But Tarantino in general, what's your relationship with the man? By which I mean his movies.
Second?
Okay.
Yeah.
What's number one?
He's only second to Jen and Sylvia Soska, directors of American Mary and See No Evil Part 2. And I don't know why they overtake him, because realistically, he has far better of a filmography.
They're your load-bearing beam directors.
Exactly.
You can't shake them.
Yeah, they're just fun. They're entertaining. But every Tarantino movie is a 5 out of 5 for me. I love all of those movies.
I agree. Even his lesser ones are still 5s for me.
Exactly.
Never heard anybody give that answer. That's an interesting answer for a favorite filmmaker. So you didn't see this in theaters?
No, I was 7 years old when this came out.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah. We need to stop.
Where were you on 9/11?
No. Where were you on January 6th?
I wasn't old enough for pre-K yet. Okay, sorry. Laci, did you see this? Did you see Grindhouse?
Yes. You're supposed to see it in the theater, so I did. And I was already like very much a Tarantino bro.
Yeah.
A Tarantino bro.
Yeah. What do you remember about it?
I remember really not liking fucking Planet of the Apes, whatever it's called.
Yeah, Planet of the Apes, yeah.
Planet Safe? Planet Day?
Planet Terror.
that one, except for I like Bruce Willis. Isn't he in it?
Yeah.
See, that's why I like
A
it.
cameo.
I also remember liking A Machine Gun Leg, which is why I was looking for the Machine Gun Leg when this movie was so much about legs, and it also has Rose McGowan in it. I was very confused the other day watching it for the first time in years. Where's her leg? So I remember really liking Tarantino's and being kind of, I don't know, grossed out and bored of it. Was fine, but you put them together, you put anyone next to Tarantino, and I'm going to be kind of blah about the other thing. And I think I remember the same thing about Four Rooms. I want to say he directed one part of Four Rooms, and that's the only good fucking part. Just don't do a collab with Tarantino, man. Don't do it.
Yeah, he did one segment. Robert Rodriguez did another, and then I don't remember the other two who.
I think I don't mind Robert Rodriguez alone and by himself, but like when Tarantino's like in his ear, like, hey, I don't know, just like I don't feel like anytime I've seen them partnered. Maybe I'm not good at remembering who does things though. So
I remember thinking it was such a cool idea to do, Grindhouse, this special. And if you don't know, Death Proof was originally part of a special event programming thing where they showed Robert Rodriguez's Planet Terror. They built the whole thing as Grindhouse. First, you saw fake trailers for fake movies, including Machete and Thanksgiving movie trailers that became actual movies in the future. And then they showed Rodriguez's movie, and then you got like more trailers, and then you got Tarantino's movie.
Was there also a cartoon break?
There was just the cartoon that's an intro. Okay. It's in the Death Proof, file that we watch. And I remember thinking it was an awesome idea, and I loved movie history, and so I loved like pretending, like cosplaying that I was back in time. But I do remember thinking like nobody's gonna get this though.
Yes, it felt like a really cool, really artsy idea wasted on a very lame town, and no drive-in or anything. Like I feel like that would have made it better. Or like smoking is allowed for this movie in this theater. All the seats have to go straight down to the floor too. No stadium seating for this one.
Yeah, if they had to change the entire theater.
Yeah, they did that.
Awesome.
Let's Rocky Horror this shit. That's all I'm saying.
But I remember having a great time with both of them and going back and forth about which movie I liked more.
Fucking idiot.
Now I've watched, but I had not seen either of them since 2007.
To be fair, I haven't seen Planet of the Apes in a long. What is it now?
Planet Terror.
I haven't seen that one since theater.
Now, both of them, if you watch them now, are available. The extended versions of both are like the standard version. In theaters. I think they were both 90 minutes a piece. And I'll say this about Planet Terror, that even 90 minutes is too long for that movie. An hour and 45 minutes is a slog. I really did not care for that movie this time.
Okay, so I never get it right. I got it right. Except for all the times I get it right. How do you feel about Planet Terror, Chris?
It's nothing in comparison to Death Proof, but I still have fun with it. I still think it's a fun double feature, and you save the best for last with Death Proof.
That's right.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a thing unto its own. It feels like kind of a joke.
Yes.
And therefore should probably have not gone maybe any longer than like 70 minutes.
Right.
Especially like the most beautiful thing about a great horror movie, especially an old horror movie, is that it'll be like 85 minutes long and then it's over. And that movie just has no business being that long. But Rodriguez seemed way more into like the fake grain and the missing reels.
See, and this is why Tarantino's so special. He knows how to celebrate and even lean a little camp, lean a little cheeky into a genre that he has no business in, but he's like so immersed in it. He knows how to still do it good and celebrate it in the sense that it makes you have an appreciation for that older kind of thing, where it seems like Rodriguez is like, no, I get it, man. I get what we're going to do. And then just doesn't have the light touch, like doesn't know where to cut it off, I'm just speaking out of my ass because I haven't just seen it, but the way you describe it, it seems like he was in on the joke, but not totally aware of how to do the punchline. I'm right.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Watching Death Proof now, and I certainly like it. And if I did my Tarantino rankings, I don't know where it would be near the bottom, but I like all of his movies. But I feel like it's kind of it's an interesting hodgepodge of like ideas that I feel like he didn't necessarily want to commit to any of them. But watching it now, having watched it 3 times, because we had to delay this episode a week, watching it 3 times in a week,
it morphs.
Well, you can start to see like, okay, this is my overarching theory is like this is a movie about like fetishized Quentin Tarantino female characters becoming self-aware and busting out of the movie screen in order to kill Quentin Tarantino.
Okay.
And I think watching it like that makes it a lot more fun. I don't know. We'll get into it as we go through.
Lay out your theory, I'm going to lay out mine, which is that this is a movie forgiving Quentin Tarantino for being a slightly problematic director that might date his makeup artist person and then fuck her a Hannah Daryl stand in on that person's birthday. I mean, obviously he is the director they're talking about because of course he'd make somebody a mixtape. And then look at all these other guys. I'm not so bad. I'm fun. That's what but it's a feminist movie too. I think it is about female empowerment. But when this movie fucking started and I watched it for the first time in like 20 years, I text to Matt, who had not seen it yet. This is Quentin Tarantino coming into a sock. That is what it felt like. It felt like the first half of this movie feels like such a gooning session. I'm like, oh my God, just come already.
Well, it's just
Tarantino.
So many gratuitous shots of butt and feet.
So much. But then I watched it again and I'm glad our episode got delayed because I have a completely different understanding of it now.
Well, so he gets to have his cake and eat it too. Get I hope he eats all of the glorious feet and all of the glorious butts.
Oh yeah.
And then in the end, he can be like, but men are pigs, right?
I don't even think it happens in the end. It's all throughout the movie. And that's what I caught this time. Go on. I'm done with my theory. We can just go through the movie.
Well, then let's go ahead and get into the history of the movie. But first, I wanted to tell everybody about Load Bearing Beams Patreon, patreon.com/loadbearingbeams.
Spend your money there.
Please do. Laci has been killing it, bringing home the bacon, making all this money for us, and as a consequence, has not been able to be on all the Patreon episodes. And we miss her dearly, but I've had some good substitutes. And our most recent episode, we talked about M. Night Shyamalan's The Happening with Patrick Perot. And I believe coming soon, we will have our spoiler-filled review of Thunderbolts Asterisk.
That does sound like a fun one.
Yeah. So the only place you can get that.
We're going to do a Showgirls commentary episode soon, too, which I'm excited about.
Commentary of Paul Verhoeven's Showgirls. So patreon.com/load-bearing-beams. Of Grindhouse.
Jesus fucking Christ with that picture, Matt. Just straight to the tootsies. Yeah. And I'm a person who likes feet. Tarantino's making me realize I don't fetish them, but I find them sexy. I don't know how I feel about this.
So why don't you describe what we're looking at?
Oh, right. This is an audio podcast. Okay. So it is Rosario Dawson's feet hanging out. I hope she has a foot double hanging out of the car window, and Quentin Tarantino with the biggest like microscope camera lens, I don't know what it is, just zoomed into one of the toes while Kurt Russell points to the one. I don't know if he's filming right now, right here.
Yeah, he's filming because he is his own DP
shot
in this movie. He shot the movie himself.
Okay, this is him getting that close shot of Kurt Russell like petting a toe and then licking one, kind of. Does he lick it or like lick his finger and then put the lick on his? It doesn't matter. It's just a big old foot shot right now with two men and then two lady feet. I nailed this.
You did.
Okay.
All right, Grindhouse. What is that? Well, if you go back to our Mad Max 2 episode from a year ago, we have a pretty good history of exploitation cinema, I think, and then how it went into the Ausploitation movement in Australia. We won't go deeply into it here, but if you don't know, back in the day, you might say, you would go to the cinema and you wouldn't just watch one movie. You had a whole package of programming to watch. Your feature presentation, they call it the feature presentation because it's the A picture. It's like the big movie that you're there to see. That's the one you'll watch first. And then the B movie is like the lesser movie, the movie you'd pay less for, which comes at the end. And then, of course, you also got trailers, which were so called because they trailed the movie. They came after the movie.
This like eating order in France.
It is kind of like that.
Start with a dessert.
And you also got a cartoon and a newsreel. So this term grind, Laci and I were trying to figure this out. They came up with the term grind because there was a practice that like shitty movie theaters would have called the grind policy, where you just ran movies all day, just shitty movies, and you gradually raised the price all day. Now, I don't know why that would be called grind.
And what I said is because they're on their grind. Like, you're just pumping shit out. What else is a grind except for something you do for a long time?
I feel like that's like a very modern word.
What is grind except for something you do for a long time to produce something insignificant, which is what I was trying to say. It was like a mortar or like ground pepper. Grinding something is tea. Grinding corn is like something women will do all day just to make like 3 tortillas. It's the grind for a reason. Plus, it's sexy when like Jodeci does it. I'm grinding right now, people.
So these Grindhouse cinemas would generally cater to a more working class audience. They were seen as lower. This is sort of in contrast, like second run theaters, aka dollar theaters. Those were also popular, but that's not what these were. These were like first run movies, but they're shittier movies, or they are lower budget, or they're just not from Hollywood. They're foreign, or they're independent, or they might be like straight up pornos. And these thrived up into the 70s, but then cable and VHS took over and they basically went extinct. But Quentin Tarantino had so much affection and nostalgia for them. And when he and Robert Rodriguez became friends in the early 90s, when they were both showing their movies, Reservoir Dogs and El Mariachi, and became like superstar movie directors for Miramax, they became great friends. And Tarantino would host these movie nights at his house where he'd have a double feature and he'd have obscure trailers and he'd have cartoons and stuff that he would play. And I have this quote from Robert Rodriguez about Quentin Tarantino. He said, quote, "Tarantino has always wanted to go back in time and make his first real film in a way before the eyes were on him. I think that he felt like he was robbed of that experience because Reservoir Dogs was successful right away. He never got to cut his teeth the way that some filmmakers got to. He was thrown right into the ring. And I've always wanted to go and do those kinds of films that inspired me to become a filmmaker to begin with." End quote. So I never thought of that. Like, you might think like, he instantly became a success, but didn't get the chance to like work your way up. Not that.
Well, that's not what he's saying. I mean, he's not saying that, but he's saying that he was so under a microscope at an unfair time because it was a fluke. I mean, I don't know. The fact that Reservoir Dogs was good didn't mean anything else would be, and he'd have to do all that very publicly. That's how you have a quick fall from grace, is just getting it right the first time.
And don't do that. When we talked about Wes Craven like had to work in pornography. He had to work in like all these different, worked at a TV station. He was kind of like, I don't know, whatever they need me to do, I'll do. And like did industrial films and stuff and literally this was like a blue collar career for him until he got to
he did it my way.
Start making movies.
I started as a file clerk and then as a secretary and then all these things in the legal industry. And now look at me doing websites for law firms. Wow.
The American dream.
Yeah, I know.
This whole idea of turning these movie nights into a thing that they could actually put into theaters, they would call it Grindhouse. They'd each make their own little movie. It really seemed like a Rodriguez idea more than a Tarantino idea. And you hear it and you're like, oh yeah, Quentin Tarantino would be all over that. But reading the quotes at the time, Rodriguez seemed way more enthusiastic about it. He seemed like the driver of the idea.
It's got to be because Quentin Tarantino had a peek at Rodriguez's project to tie your name so tightly to something and vouch for something else, especially when that person is your friend. How do you tell them no? And how do you fucking let them know that their product isn't really living up to expectations or to Tarantino's name without not being their friend anymore? This sounds like a fucking nightmare.
You're saying he thought he'd make a good movie, but then when he saw his friend's movie, he said, I won't try that hard?
No, I think he tried. I think he tried enough, and maybe he kind of underplayed it to not fuck over Rodriguez too much. Like, he can't give it full Tarantino and then show that other movie. I think it was like a mercy downplay, and I think maybe he wasn't I don't know. I'm just saying, if my best friend asked me to do something that I'm better at, but we're going to type both of our names to both of our products, I'm going to be a little skittish.
I think that Tarantino, even though like his movies you can criticize him and say like all he does is do like tributes to older movies and older styles of movies. It all ends up being a Quentin Tarantino feeling movie. And I don't think he necessarily could make like cover versions of older genres of movies the way Robert Rodriguez could. I don't think Tarantino could make a movie like The Faculty, like something kind of just straightforward in a genre. It all has to be a movie that feels like a Quentin Tarantino movie. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
I do, but I don't know why that's a response to what I said. I'm losing you.
So if Rodriguez says like, we're going to make our tribute and we're going to make it look and feel like those old movies.
Okay.
I think Tarantino might think like, yes, I can do that, but I don't know that he actually can do that.
He's got too many influences going in, plus his oversized ego feeling like, no, I think this could be tweaked, not realizing all the tweaks you're making are making this too modern feeling. Is that right?
Yeah, and because he said like,
so he missed the mark.
I'll mix it like a car chase movie and a slasher movie, and I don't know, like Chris, do you know like I don't feel like I've heard much about Tarantino's like love for horror movies and specifically slasher movies. Have you?
So I watched an interview before we were doing this podcast, and it was of Tarantino talking to a Tonight Show host. And he was saying how he was getting through all of the iconic slasher movies of the 80s and 90s and 70s. And he was in the middle of that when they came up with the idea for Grindhouse. And that's where the whole slasher movie, but with a twist idea came from. So if he wasn't in the middle of that watch through of the slasher movies, I don't think that Death Proof would be what Death Proof is.
That's interesting. So yeah, because like of all the things I've heard of him loving, I just don't really associate that with him. When that's such a big thing for so many other filmmakers. And I think that like it gets a few slasher elements, right? The creeping, being haunted by a mysterious figure in the distance,
the changing the music at that time, and that only one of the female characters is spotting it along the way, like it's, and she almost can talk herself into thinking she's being overly, seeing stuff or making a big deal out of nothing. But he gets that creep feeling so right. And both women that are like the one who notice, they're creeped out and they say so, but they show you that too. And I don't know, it's just very relatable. It's like, should I be? I am. My body's saying yes.
So he had this idea for doing a slasher movie, but he said, quote, I realized I couldn't do a straight slasher film because with the exception of women in prison films, there is no other genre quite as rigid. And if you break that up, you're not really doing it anymore. It's inorganic. So I realized, let me take the structure of a slasher film and just do what I do. My version is going to be fucked up and disjointed, but it seemingly uses the structure of a slasher film, hopefully against you. End quote. And then he was talking about, the other big idea of being fascinated with stuntmen and the idea that they could literally death proof their cars, which is a delightful idea to think about. But he was talking about like the state of car crashes in the movies, as, Chris alluded to earlier. We don't get, outside of like the Mission Impossible movies and maybe the Fast and Furious movies, at least in major blockbusters, you don't get that classic practical stunt car chase anymore.
Well, and cars aren't made like this anymore. And I don't mean that in the American, people always complain about how easy it is to rip a bumper off your car now, or like something just barely touches it and it caves in. And it's like, yeah, it's supposed to. That softness of cars now saves lives on both what's getting hit and what's inside the car. So yeah, when you think about classic cars, they are fetishized. We don't want them to go anywhere. They should have never been made. I'm sorry, Chris, but like they are truly death machines. The fatalities that happen in those versus what we have now we have to reckon with that. And you got these gearheads who fucking want to play rough, and then they're riding a tank at 125. I'm just saying, it's scary.
Yeah.
Cars are scary.
I think that,
I didn't drive till I was 17. Okay.
There's an element to this movie. And I also, totally by mistake, I watched what ended up being a companion to this, David Cronenberg's Crash. Have you seen the Cronenberg Crash?
God, that old
Chris?
That movie.
I have not.
No, from 1996 with Holly Hunter and James Spader.
I've seen it.
Where they get sexually turned on by car crashes. And it's this whole idea of like, we don't think enough about. We give our lives and spend our time handing our lives over to these vast machines of death. And we're just driving around with such kinetic energy. and at any moment our lives could be totally destroyed, our bodies could be totally altered.
Even more, this movie feels about what it can do to people who are not in on your good time. It seems to be very much highlighting. I'm always nervous in a movie that's showing me someone going really fast down the road. Now, what kind of road it is makes it more and more stressful. If it's a neighborhood, I'm not even going to be fucking looking. But, you know, both parts of this movie have this like, fuck it. And at any moment, they become the death machine, even though they're just trying to have a good time.
Well, the idea of the slasher is we have these rules in society. Don't go killing people. Don't go stabbing people. And what the slasher says is, no, I'm not going to listen to that. I'm going to.
Yeah. And yet we drive.
Well, this is like, we have these rules about cars. Be safe in them. But somebody could just decide at any moment, no, I'm not going to be safe.
Right.
I'm going to intentionally.
This kitchen knife is for chopping or stabby. Right. Yeah. This car is made to use the seatbelt and stop at red lights or slam on the fucking gas. Tie my girlfriend to the front.
So he said about the state of car chases in movies, quote, I don't think there have been any good car chases since I started making films in 92. To me, the last terrific car chase was in Terminator 2. And Final Destination 2 had a magnificent car action piece. In between that, not a lot. Every time a stunt happens, there's 12 cameras and they use every angle for avid editing. But I don't feel it in my stomach. It's just action. Mm-hmm. End quote. So huge influences on this movie are a movie called Dirty Mary Crazy Larry, which is mentioned in the movie, and especially the movie Vanishing Point, 1971 car chase movie with the white Dodge Challenger.
How was it, Matt?
It was excellent.
Really?
I had to buy the DVD because it's not streaming, but it is a pretty great movie. Have you seen Vanishing Point, Chris?
I have, but it's been a very, very long time.
Yeah, it's so interesting to watch them back to back because especially the second half of this movie so deliberately is trying to look like Vanishing Point. But it's there's a lot, it's a great action movie, but there's also just tons of interesting stuff going on in that movie about like people's attitudes toward the police. Like it's a 1971 movie. And I've said this before, in the 70s, you watch 70s movies, people's attitude toward police and cops was very dismissive. And that would basically change around the 1980s. Is now cops are always something we need to respect. But in that movie, it's just accepted the cops are bad and they're bad and they're trying to ruin this guy's time who just wants to drive his car real fast.
You guys.
And the whole plot of that movie is this guy wants to drive his car real fast across America and people keep getting in his way.
I can see how he could be the hero and all I'm picturing is villain.
So
bad car man.
Okay. Just one more thing. We'll get to the movie. Kurt Russell. Tarantino, we've talked about how he loves his reclamation projects. He wanted to bring John Travolta back. He felt like John Travolta didn't have the great career that he deserved. And he also thought that about Kurt Russell. And he told Entertainment Weekly in 2007, quote, for people of my generation, he's a true hero. But now there's a whole audience out there that doesn't know what Kurt Russell can do. When I open the newspaper and see an ad that says Kurt Russell in Dreamer or Kurt Russell in Miracle, I'm not disparaging these movies, but I'm thinking, when is Kurt Russell going to be a badass again? End quote. And I remember thinking when this movie came out, like, oh yeah, Kurt Russell, he's back. This is a big time comeback for Kurt Russell. And it didn't really happen.
Did it happen in TV at least?
I mean, he's like in the Fast and Furious movies. He's in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, that's true.
He's in the Hateful Eight. He's like one of the main characters of the Hateful Eight.
Oh, yeah.
But
it's a delight.
I mean, he's like one of these guys who you think of as an icon and a movie star, but he was kind of never actually a movie star.
It's almost like it's a handicap of when he came up because you've got Mel Gibson, you've got Bruce Willis, you've got so many rugged guys that are or Harrison Ford. There's so many white guys that can do whatever he would have been hired for. Not to say it's better, but there's a lot of competition.
And his thing is always like he can do it with a little bit of humor and a little bit of
so can Bruce Willis.
Not taking himself as seriously as it seems like he should be. That's why the guy who understood him best was John Carpenter. Mm-hmm. You could have him as your lead of the movie and know what kind of movie you were watching. Mm-hmm. Okay, these movies, Grindhouse, not a hit at the box office. It was a pretty big disappointment, but it was an experiment.
Yeah, gone.
But it was
wrong.
also like every Quentin Tarantino movie since I've been a kid has been a giant event, and it was kind of weird that it was just like, hey, a Quentin Tarantino movie's coming out.
Yeah, that the marketing was interesting, but it didn't seem like I guess I would have been too young to really be noticing, but I remember this feeling like it was quick, like it quickly followed something I didn't expect to hear from Tarantino so quickly. Like, what had he done right before?
Kill Bill, and then
and
this was between Kill Bill and Inglourious Bastards.
Okay, and I feel like he takes 4 years to do a movie, at least.
So it was 2004 Kill Bill 2, and then 2009 Inglourious Bastards. This was directly in between.
Okay, so I mean, it still has been some time, but yeah, I guess because it was a joint project, and maybe this is when he started announcing like maybe retiring, so it felt like a half step or something. Like, oh, is he going to just like partner with people now? Bullshit. I think I was into it, but not curious enough to read and figure it out because I don't read.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
And even now, I don't even. He was developing this movie about a movie critic, and now he canceled that. I don't even know if he has a thing in development, and it's been 6 years since his last movie.
I feel like one day he's just gonna drop a movie on us, and nobody's gonna see it coming.
Yeah, it'll be like this.
It'll just be on our TV. How did this happen?
All right, I feel like I've been talking a lot.
You have.
Okay, well, why don't you take this opening?
No! There's feet. Okay, just straight open with feet. And I think that started me because that's like the joke about him, but it's also serious. I think that immediately kind of took me to a place in the movie that like wasn't the best start for me. Because I'm like, okay, this is like teenage dream Tarantino. This isn't going to be like serious.
I know that people knew the Tarantino feet thing, but maybe social media wasn't so dominant right now that he probably felt I could still get away with this. Whereas he could not. Well, but like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has tons of feet in it.
And okay, here's another thing. This is going to make me sound so weird, but my mom always rode in the front seat with whatever dad I had at the time driving, and she would have her nails painted and put her feet up on the dash like this. And she has very nice feet. It runs in the family. I do too. They're gorgeous. I'm just saying.
They're fine.
My feet fucking rock. All right. And
what do you think of feet, Chris?
I'm not a feet guy.
You're not? Then how
that is the one thing that I don't understand with Tarantino. However, in this movie, it makes a good drinking game. A shot for every foot shot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Get drunk pretty quick.
And
and they're wearing flip-flops. So that's a lot of feet shots.
I mean, this is his most foot forward movie?
I think it
has to be.
Yeah.
His foot's on the pedal.
And it's his shortest movie, or maybe Reservoir Dogs is shorter, but
well, if you're thinking of it as an exploitation film, then what's the most thing he'd want to exploit?
Yeah.
He's not going to get the women naked. He's going to get those piggies out. And he picks some good fucking feet. I don't even know that those are that lady's feet. They're too perfect. Anyway, I have this affection for feet up on a dashboard crisscross like that.
Yeah, because of your mother.
Which is strange, but that meant she was in a good mood. So I do understand why I'm connecting it to like a nice road trip. No, you don't get in a horrible domestic dispute and then prop your feet on the dashboard. That's what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
It's the same reason why I love the smell of Windex. It means that bitch is happy enough to be cleaning. You know what I'm saying? All right. So I'm already like in like a good mood, but because I know the thing about feet, I'm like, geez, already. It's like starting with the tip of a dick. It's like, what are you doing, Quentin? Where are you going from here? Anyway, this is all I know about this shot.
All right. So Planet Terror has all the fake grain. It's not fake grain. They actually did like drop the film onto the ground and like stomp on it and stuff. But to give it the appearance of a grimy movie from the 70s. And this movie, the first half of it has it, not as much as Planet Terror. But in my memory, it did not have it. So I was surprised to now get it. And then they do the joke with you see the old title of the movie for a second before it gets replaced with a new title card that says Death Proof. Because it was a thing that would happen is like a movie would open in a city, it would get bad reviews. So when it would go to the next city, they'd be like, no, this is a different movie.
Oh, and there's even some force. But if you're watching it on streaming, you're not sure if you're seeing an intentional like blip. You know, there's a shot. I think it's whenever in the second half of It's when the pretty girl with the big teeth is explaining how, there's a blip where she says something twice. Yeah. So when it happened the second time, I was like, oh, okay, it was intentional.
Yeah. There's so much more of that in Planetary, and Planetary literally has the film burn up and melt down while you're watching it. Yeah.
I remember that. But I mean, great shots. See, we're getting to know these ladies. We see a long-legged hot chick who's definitely cool, putting on her shirt.
You're talking about Jungle Julia?
I'm talking about Jungle Julia.
Played by Sidney Poitier, daughter of Sidney Poitier.
Yeah.
But she spells it differently.
That's good. Not confusing.
But she is like maybe the most idealized of all Quentin Tarantino, like, sexy ladies.
Why?
Because, okay, she's a cool and sexy as shit black woman who likes, like, cool rock and roll from the 60s and 70s.
Wait, you're saying character or person? This is a character who likes these things.
I'm saying of all of the female characters that Quentin Tarantino has created to be like, this is my dream girl.
Oh, I thought you meant like the culture celebrates her of all the ladies. Of his ladies. Okay, we'll talk better.
Listen better. But also morphed with like the Bridget Fonda in Jackie Brown, like stoner slacker girl.
Well, and it's always a fucking big red flag for me that a man wrote this stuff. When you see someone that's just a bitch, when you see a woman walking around in panties and a short shirt, we don't do that. That's not practical. We cover our ass. You know why?
I'm sure someone does.
I'm sure someone does. But I'm just saying it's a guy thing to do this. And then, so the writing does start to, usually Tarantino's working with groups of either a man and a woman, or groups of men. That's the typical formation in his movies. So it is jarring to watch him write lots of dialogue for groups of one-on-one lady conversations and groups of women. He did not consult with a female, but any of this can just be like, well, he was going for that. He's going for that.
Yeah, I mean,
this is a man's ideal of what
it's
women
the male
are like.
gaze, and you're trying to harken back to exploitation movies where you would just get tons of butt shots and boob shots for no reason. I don't care
about that. That shit's hot as fuck. I like all those things. I'm saying literally the words that are coming out of their mouth are not normal. He gets wardrobe besides the panties and shirt combo. He gets wardrobe like perfect, however.
Okay, well, hold on. We'll get to their conversation, but let's so we got Sidney Poitier as Julia, Vanessa Ferlito as Arlene, and Jordan Ladd as Shanna. And this is all taking place in Austin, Texas. Let's see, we're on Robert Rodriguez's turf.
Relation to Cheryl Ladd?
Well, let's say yes.
Okay.
And so they have this annoying conversation about who's going to get the pot. And the conversation, it's a lot like the Pulp Fiction, exactly Jules and Vincent, like where there's a lot of like circling back and forth about like what the definition of words are.
Yep.
And like, I was not cursing at you. I was saying curses at you, that kind of thing.
Yep.
But your contention, Laci, is this is inauthentically female.
Well, you're hitting on you're right. It's twofold. And that's why it was so obvious that he writes these overly sexual dialogues to what, in a way that, in my experience, two women don't talk like that. Like, that's not the perspective of, I just made out with a guy. Let me describe to you in great detail what he did, what we did. It's not that. It's like, I accidentally farted, or like his tongue was a little like jittery, or like it's from the perspective of a human body experiencing another human's body. Not like, let me lay it out for you. We were so on top of each other with straddled vagina.
Wait a minute. I have heard women talk like this. You're speaking about yourself.
I fucking clearly said that in my experience. What women have you heard? And if you were watching my guy, they were talking about it for you. I'm talking about private conversations just with women in the room. That's just not, what are we doing that for? Unless we're trying to turn each other on, in that case, fine, let's do this. But that's just not how you discuss a hookup. It's more like, dude, he was so hot, we did this, and this. Like, that's more matter of fact. And then you get to like the human part of like, I had to pee so bad. That kind of thing. That's how you know a woman wrote it, because it's just more realistic to say the non-sexy parts as well.
Okay.
Jesus fuck.
I'm sure if hitmen watch Pulp Fiction, they'd be like, we don't talk like this. Like, this is all, none of this is supposed to be real.
So every time I make a point and then you ask me to like dig in, you're going to just tell me I wasn't supposed to worry about that.
No, I'm not saying you don't need to worry about that. It. Chris, what do you think about this?
So, did you do the thing? Do guys like the thing? Will they like it better than no thing?
It's like, great. Okay. Yeah, that's
it's
what we do.
Entertaining dialogue. I mean, I can understand both where Lacey's coming from because my wife don't talk like that.
No.
But
and not because we're prudes, just because.
yeah, my wife's a very graphically worded person, so if she's going to talk about it, it's going to be a lot more graphic than the way
and
they
medical.
talk about it in the movie.
Medical. She's a nurse. So it's gonna right. It's nuanced. This isn't.
It's new. So I don't, but I actually don't disagree with you. Yeah, something about this does ring more false to me than Vincent and Jules talking, but I do need to remind myself he has no idea what hitmen are like, and he has no idea, like, these are all just totally imaginary people.
Well, for Vincent and Jules, he's humanizing them by giving them this mundane conversation. He's showing you that no matter what it is you do for a living, it is just something you're doing to make ends meet. Doesn't make you an evil person. That's what he's doing. This is just girlfriends trying to hang out. These are just girlfriends, like, some of them haven't seen each other in a while. Butterfly's just in town for a few days, and all the women are ever fucking talking about are their hookups, are their relationships that aren't working. It's the first thing anyone asks anyone about. It's all they're ever talking about when you walk in on the conversation. That is not realistic. And I guess it's meant to be a very sexually charged movie. I get that. But when he writes for men, it more rounds out a man. It makes them feel more human, more relatable. When he's writing for a woman, they feel so one note, and he's making them lesser than. He's not building them out. He doesn't build out their world. They're not talking about France and fucking Madonna. They're talking about kissing guys, straight relationships. There's not even any queer shit in here. So
there's the lesbians.
Who's a lesbian?
The ladies who come into the bar to meet them with the pot later.
God, the fucking biker babe, lesbian fucking trope.
Well, okay, so but they do talk about, like, music and stuff. They don't only talk about men, but it is, yes, he's writing these women characters who we define them first as, like, sexual creatures, and second as people who are obsessed with the things that Quentin Tarantino is also obsessed with, which is fast cars and rock and roll from the 60s and 70s that most people have not heard.
Yeah, this whole thing feels like, oh, hey, new girlfriend, here's a mixtape. This whole movie here's mixtape. That's what it is.
The thing that rang most false to me about the whole movie is when the women are all, when they find out that Rosario Dawson got a mixtape, they're all like, "Ah,
no, not true. When you gave me a mixtape, I cream my fucking jeans."
Nobody in real life wants a mixtape. No.
What are you talking? It's the way guys say things they can't say. You're good at communicating. Not every guy is. So they communicate through songs, or else the girl pretends that's what they're doing. Mixtapes are fucking sexy as hell.
Okay. Maybe I'm wrong here.
God, you're bad at this episode. Me and Chris, this is weird. What if me and Chris just do this?
Yeah, please.
I'm dressed like the husband from Beetlejuice. That's always what I think when I wear this shirt. You're welcome, audio podcast. Okay.
They get to the Mexican restaurant, and Arlene, aka Butterfly, notices there's some sort of death-proof car outside. Something's amiss. Keep my eye on that death-proof car. Yeah, I mean, it's almost like shot for shot, like Halloween.
Yeah, where she's noticing it's out the window. It's always when she takes a moment alone. He never seems to creep when they're in a group.
Yeah,
which also happens in the second half. Don't you feel like the title card could basically happen after the first half? Like that whole thing's just a setup for you to, like, really enjoy. It's just like, and now the movie.
Yeah, and this, you could, in your memory, you could be like, yeah, that's one of those title card doesn't come till 70 minutes into the movie. Movies. Yes, you're so right. They explain that whole thing with the lap dance. If you come up to Butterfly and you're like, "Are you Butterfly?" Well, Robert Frost once said that I was walking in a tree forest and I came upon a path and I didn't know which way to go and I took the loft path. If you do all of that, she'll give you a lap dance. Okay?
All that a man that does all that, and you get to do the most 90 things ever, the most 90s thing you could have ever asked for. Lap dances were all the rage.
They were?
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, it was, I don't know.
I'm not that old. I don't know.
You know, the American Pie of it all. It's just, that's what I'm not going to fuck this guy, but I know I'm supposed to dance like this on his dick. Yeah. Lap dances were like, if you didn't do that, you were the lamest girl.
What? Who did these? What? This is the thing. So you had to, You had to like know how to do that?
Well, luckily I just know.
Oh,
I
okay.
was born this way.
All right.
Did you make people read you a poem to give you the lap dance at least?
I didn't know that was an option. Okay. So I did them for far less.
Like what? What would you do?
For someone asking me to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I made out with girls for someone asking me to. This was very much a thing, especially if you're not like all that good looking. I do whatever I'm supposed to do.
Oh, you're good looking.
I am now.
No, shut up. You were then.
I was not.
I've seen pictures of you.
Oh.
Also, we've been together so fucking long. When are you talking about?
I'm talking about it as a teenager.
When you were 13?
No.
We've been together since you were 14.
We're really hostile on this episode. I'm talking about age 14 through age 25.
Ew. Again, I'm going to make Laci do a timeline of her life because these numbers are all over the place.
Well, that's to be expected.
Yeah, you'll get a lap dance if you read me a Robert Frost poem. She's like, I don't want to do that. And he's like, well, you're going to have to, or else we'll call you chicken shit like you're Marty McFly. Her one weakness is she can't be called chicken shit. And she knows that, so she's mad about it. But anyway, they leave this taco bar, and Kurt Russell watches them from across the street, and he has an individual photo of each of them.
That is the only mystery. Does anyone does it need to be explained? I'm okay with it not, but why? Why these girls? How did he know Butterfly was going to... I mean, I know he listens to Jungle Julia, so I guess that's why.
Well, he stalks them. And he presumably has been stalking them before this.
But Butterfly just got there.
Got there, yesterday.
That man knows how to develop a photo quickly. He takes them and then
he hangs out at the airport and he waits for groups of girls. I think there's a thing where he
listens to Jungle Julia. I just answered my own question. Do you think Chris is very infatuated with Julia specifically, and the rest of the stuff was just there with Julia? And the Butterfly gave him an intro, right? The lap dance thing.
I mean, that worked out for the intro for sure, but I think he gained his information on Julia after he had already picked this group of girls for his next target. Okay. And I only say that because of the second group of girls. They are being photographed at the airport.
You're right. Is that the airport where Abby?
Yeah. They're picking up Zoe Gabby. From the airport. Yeah.
Yeah. Zoe, where did I get Abby Gabby?
Okay. Gabby. But I think that he is like, I think he chooses his targets based on like a very toxic masculine
promiscuity.
Performative femininity seems to really grind his gears.
I just buttoned my button while you were saying that. Like, I self-conscious.
So if like these women are being loud and they're like and stuff at the bar, he's like, I don't like the looks of them in my book.
They wouldn't suck my old cock. Doggy. What does he always say? It's not partner. Is it partner? Okay.
Sure. They head over to the Texas Chili Parlor, and they're just hanging out with some guys, including Eli Roth playing one of them.
Oh,
your cousin,
my cousin. Which one was he?
He's the one who looks like Eli Roth. I don't know. He's the one who's like, okay, we're just gonna give him some more shots.
That was the asshole.
Boys becomes boys. Okay,
I got it, the asshole.
I love to see this beautiful old school texting of Julia texting whoever, Chris or whoever
on her Nokia.
Cinema Chris. She's texting him. When are you coming? We get to see how long a text message takes and the little noise that you hear and how satisfying that was. We got to go back, people. We have to go back. Things were better then, I assure you. They were way better in 2007.
So much less wars. Just kidding.
Just as many wars.
I know.
Technology was better.
Oh.
But Quentin Tarantino plays the owner of the bar, and he comes over and he's like, everybody's going to do shots.
It's the worst fucking cameo he's ever done. It is so egregious. He's such an idiot. He's like Eddie from fucking Vegas, Christmas Vacation, the vacation movies.
Well, as in a delightful scene stealer?
As in like a Temu version. He's just the grease and none of the charm.
Let's see. Arlene goes outside to smoke and it's raining. And then she notices the death car is in the parking lot. And she's like, oh no, that death car. I don't like the looks of that.
Well, and has the disgusting chat amongst Eli Roth and his guy happened yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
No, that happens at the same time as we're getting the sensual eating of Kurt Russell.
It's not sensual. He's meant to look like a pig. Look, he's got some on his cheek. He's meant to look scary.
I think Tarantino can't help but making it look a little sensual. Like the fingers go, those fingers going in my mouth.
Tiebreaker, Chris. He's meant to look sexual, but gross.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Every time it grosses me out, yet at the same time makes me crave nachos.
I was gonna say makes me horny as hell. I was like, where are we going? It's like me with my mom's feet. Okay.
All right, so I need to make a video of Laci's mom's feet and a cut of this.
Don't do that.
But it's funny because I remembered this as being like this is one of the things I remember from the movie theater being like, oh, those nachos look so fucking good.
I mean, they do. The cheese is dripping.
And like, I hate watching people eat. I really think it's disgusting.
It's
this is like Laci seeing like a beehive or something. This upset me on a visceral. I felt it in my stomach.
In my caveman, I'm screaming.
Hit me in the caveman. Well, so yeah, Eli Roth is talking to this other dipshit, and he's like, we can get the girls horny if we give them more shots.
And that's when I realized this movie is just American Psycho. This is all of these men are toxic in these women's lives. The guy that's on the phone saying he really misses Julia and never fucking shows up. The guys who are buying them fucking shots just to call them bitches and to get their bananas sucked. And then the fucking cop at the end who's figured it out. You can tell it's a death-proof car. All you care about is that those ladies were too pretty to die. Meanwhile, you're treating this doctor who's your daughter like a piece of shit. That is the most hostile thing in this movie is the way he talks to his physician daughter. And he has the smarts and intelligence to know that this is what is happening. Again, if these were ugly girls, he would not care. But he's like a daddy. So he ain't going to do it in Texas. Like, oh, thank you. Thank you. That's so helpful. Evil men.
I think those are the only characters from Planet Terror. The sheriff and the doctor, the woman doctor, are in Planet Terror.
Well, and
no, I'm saying those are literally characters from Planet Terror. Rose McGowan is an actor who's also in Planet Terror.
Jungle Julia is technically referenced in Planet Terror.
She is
a memorial, like on the radio. They're saying in memory of our radio host Jungle Julia Lukai.
Oh, okay. And then there you go. Because
there's
Rose
two
McGowan.
twins.
Wait.
Huh?
Oh, never mind. I was about to ask a very stupid question.
There's twins in the bar in Death Proof who are the babysitters of the doctor in Planet Terror, and they are the same character.
Ooh. Death Proof takes place before Planet Terror, or at least the first half of Death Proof takes place before Planet Terror.
That's true, because that part's grainy.
Which begs the question, in the second half of Death Proof, has a zombie apocalypse already taken place?
And everything's fine now?
And no one's mentioning it?
They're just on a movie set where that hasn't happened yet?
That was all the way in Texas, and we're in Tennessee.
Well, the accents are a little rough for me. That you can't have an empowered woman who talks the way that Shauna talks.
Shanna, the only thing a Shanna hates worse than what
I did it. Craig, I'm always gonna fucking step in it.
But yeah, gross nachos and men being pigs. No, Laci, you're absolutely right. It is. These guys are not literally slasher killers, but they are. These women are their prey. In a way, if you think about it.
Well, they're gonna kill a little piece of them with the way that they are, the way that they. I mean, look at the director who they're talking about. Who all he did was fuck some girl on her birthday, but like that stayed with her. It's what she's talking about. The way they are.
But Eli Roth and his friend then look over at Kurt Russell and they're like, how did this guy get out of his time machine? What a loser.
He looks fine. I don't even think it looks funny for the time. It's just the 90s. Shot. He does look like he's in a spacesuit.
Rose McGowan now is Pam. For some reason, all the cool girls at the bar think she sucks and they make fun of her from across the room. But Rose McGowan starts talking to Kurt Russell. We finally get some good old Kurt Russell. And I got to say, I was not digging this movie that much. Each time I watched it up until now, I've been like, I get it. This is not, I don't know. This feels like Quentin Tarantino B-sides. But Kurt Russell, one of my favorites of all time. And he starts talking. I'm like, oh, good. I'm in good hands.
Yeah.
And he just starts explaining that I like to hang out in a bar and not drink and just drink a virgin pina colada and eat my nachos and talk to people. He explains he's a stuntman. He's Stuntman Mike, and he's an actual stuntman from movies and television.
I do want to point out that Rose McGowan's character does all the things she's supposed to do to be safe in a bar. Like, she is asking him the right question. She wants the bartender who she trusts to vouch for him. She checks to see if he's drinking and if he's going to be drunk when he drops her off. Like, she's not wearing anything provocative. She was taken there by a date and then left there in the rain by that asshole. She asks about the car. It's like if a guy wants to make you his prey, he probably just will, because every time she asks a question to like just figure out who this guy is, he does something very like charismatic to kind of like, she's like, hey, so you vouch for this guy? And he's like, well, insofar as I've seen, he said he's in this movie, and he's not really answering the question, the bartender. And then Kurt Russell takes over and tells like a really long thing about all the work he's done, which has nothing to do with, can you vouch for this guy? But it distracts and charms. And
yeah, and he says like, I didn't offer to give you, you asked me for a ride.
Like, that's not true. You slid your keys over here and said your chariot awaits. How's that her asking?
But he is like, when she's talking to him, he's like looking at her. He's listening very intently. He's laughing along with her. Like, he's like charming as hell.
He's very, those eyes, those blue eyes.
But a lot of this just feels like this is like him being obsessed with stuntmen.
I like that. I like that he celebrates these other. I'm a sucker for any stuntman movie that just talk. I mean, because they destroy their bodies to get no fucking praise.
He starts asking her questions about Jungle Julia. What's her deal? And she's like, well, I went to school with her and she sucks.
This
and
is like very well observed. You said that those ladies over there seem to hate that blonde woman for no reason. That's Austin, right? That they're in?
Yeah, a huge city.
But they seem to be like on like the way that Metairie is small. If you want to pick a bar, right? Metairie, you would still say you're from New Orleans, but you're not driving New Orleans to go to a bar. You're going to go to a bar in Metairie. That's how I take this area. And they went to school with each other, and like they're both hot, and you're gonna end up at the same bar. The guy gives away free shots. It's going to be a popular place to go, and yeah, you're gonna sit at the bar while you're not gonna go over and be like, hi, we're friends, because you're not fake, but you do know each other enough to be like, let me check in with you. Is it weird that I'm going with this guy? Like, I think it's really well observed, the casual attachment to someone who you didn't mean to run into and you don't necessarily like that much. I don't know. It's nicely, lightly handled, I think.
And Kurt Russell asks, well, what did she ever do to you? She used to beat you up and take your chocolate milk. And she's like, that pituitary case might have kicked my ass a couple of times, but I'd die before I gave her my chocolate milk.
That's a pretty good Rose McGowan.
He starts explaining all the credits he's had. I did a lot of episodes of The Virginian, and then I did The Men of Shiloh, and damn near the whole third season of Vegas. Any of you know any of these shows or people I'm talking about? And they're all like, no, sorry. I looked these up. I can't. It's unclear if these are actual TV shows. I don't think
it seems like jibber jabber. Yeah.
But I don't know if the point is he is making them up.
Yes. That's what I thought, Chris.
Or Tarantino is trying to invent a history.
But then why give us real movies in this movie as well, Chris? See, he's shaking his head. Yes, I'm right.
It's on the fence because there's a theory about Stuntman Mike being another character from another Tarantino movie.
Which one?
I don't know if I believe it, but there's a theory that Stuntman Mike is Cliff Booth from Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, that sucks.
Oh, okay. Well, because I was going to say he also brings back stuntmen for that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly hope that's not true. I know that's not true. No, Tarantino's like
he's not really like that.
No, he's not like that. He's Cliff Booth could turn into somebody like this. He, may have harpooned his wife. We don't know.
Or they could have worked together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did wonder, wait a minute, is Kurt Russell playing the same character in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood when he plays Cliff Booth's boss? Did you hear, guys, that Cliff Booth is coming back, allegedly, meaning probably not, but David Fincher will be directing a Cliff Booth
no, of course I didn't hear
stuntman movie.
I'll be watching that.
Yeah, if it happens. David Fincher gets announced to do a lot of
No,
stuff.
I'm going to watch it if it doesn't happen, Matt. Thanks for the fucking clarification.
You're welcome.
God, your help.
All the TV shows in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood are real. Like Bounty Law is a real show. So that's why I assumed these were real shows he was mentioning here, because Tarantino would want to shout out real shows.
Sure. But I think I also, like I said, this is at a very opportune moment that he does this. He steps in while and makes it to where the bartender gets distracted, moves on, because right here he could ruin the whole thing by saying, look, I don't really know him that well. He's only been in this bar a couple times, but instead he jumps in and just starts making all these girls feel stupid because they don't know all the things he's saying. And it would make sense if some of them are real and some of them are completely made up, just so he can vamp, take some time, distract, make them feel a little dumb, and make it to where Rose McGowan's character kind of wants to prove she's cool again after showing she's not cool to him.
So
he's attractive, he's older, he's charismatic. Even if you're not going to fuck him, you want him to want to fuck you. I've been in this situation a million times. Sure. You still want someone to look at you and go, you're an old soul.
Would.
Or you're no, not just that. Just like, oh wow, you're pretty cool, or you're not like other girls. Like that pick me is always there of like, let me show you. I know Otis Redding. I know how to pick a fucking thing off the thing with the shit I know about a show. I'm timeless. So she gets a little negged here and distracted.
Okay, sorry. Let's back up then. Do we think Stunt Mike ever worked as a stuntman?
Yes.
Then? Yes, yeah. Because now I'm thinking, wait a minute, Tarantino probably loves stuntmen so much. Why would he make a stuntman a killer? Stuntmen are good folk.
They don't have to be good to like him, Matt. Why does everybody have to be an angel? He's got that kick-ass scar.
How'd you get into the stunt business? My brother got me into it. Who's your brother?
Stuntman Bob. That's how you get into wrestling. I find it totally believable. That's how you get into stunting. It's one of those things that doesn't feel like a career. It feels like something people do instead of having a job. But you talk to someone who actually does it, realize it's like a big deal and there's a lot of skill involved. And okay, I'll try it. I can see.
Stuntman Mike goes out and he recites the Robert Frost, like, midnight on the midnight dreary. I came across a rose. And she's like, what? How did you know that? Bam.
How did you?
I forgot how she talks. Damn it. I forgot that I had an impression of her, but I forgot it.
Darn.
I know, of Arlene/Butterfly. But she's trying to like figure out how to get out of this situation and finally just asks, I know you've been following me. Why? And he says, well, I ain't stalking y'all, but I didn't say I wasn't a wolf.
Ooh.
Damn.
Panties wet.
He accurately says, you look a little wounded because you thought guys would be reciting poetry at you all night and it hasn't happened yet. And there are as few things as fetching as a bruised ego and a beautiful angel.
Ugh.
So how about that lap dance?
Angel.
And she's like, well, I'm going to have to give you a rain check. And he's like, that's okay. You're still a nice girl and I still like you. But I must warn you, you know how people say, you're okay in my book. And in the John Wayne voice, and he keeps doing the John Wayne voice and explains he actually has a book, like Richard Nixon.
Okay, but I'm not the only one, and maybe, Chris, you don't have enough distance from this, but just like when he has the weirdest, longest, prolonged sneeze, but then doesn't sneeze, and then you pan back to Julia, and she's like, what the fuck? When he's up close, you cannot see any of their reactions, and he's doing full on John Wayne for way too long, you expect them to flip the camera back and all of them be like, what the fuck? But then they flip it back and she's like, I don't want to be a chicken shit. It's like, wait, that worked? What? It's just very interesting, these things he puts in along the way to let you know this guy is not right. Or is he? I don't know. I love that because that's what you want. That's what you want in life, is for a creepy guy to be okay and for you to think you're in danger and be like, oh, I'm not. That's what you want. And this movie plays with it very well. This like, nah, I'm safe.
Do you remember what they said, Laci, about the real Frank Abagnale? What everybody said about him?
No.
That he smelled bad.
Oh.
That he stunk.
Okay.
And that weirdly was part of his appeal. For some reason, it's like he stinks, but he's okay. He's not trying to con me.
It's like no one that stinky would
con me.
Yeah, they got to be making nice over here.
But the chicken shit thing works on her because she's Marty McFly. So she does this elaborate lap dance that
it is the most elaborate. And
I feel like everybody in the bar would resign from being uncomfortable. And instead they're like, yeah,
they're
go.
all smiling and fucking nodding in approval. I would be so uncomfortable. Also, she does half of it where you can't see it behind him. Who are you doing this for? Fuck. And she's good at it. She's a good dancer. But the part really?
The actress did?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
I can't
really impressive.
I can't figure out where I know her from. She's very familiar. She's Spider-Man very distinctive. 2. Oh, okay.
Who is she in Spider-Man 2?
She's Mary Jane's best friend.
God.
I only know that. We watched it the other day and I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, I looked at her credits because I don't know her from anything. She's just in TV. Or she's, in lots of TV. She's a successful actress. I just don't know.
I feel like I know her as a kid actor. That's like, this is a mature role for her. That is where my brain goes. But
I was thinking non-goth Fairuza Balk. That's who I was thinking.
Yeah.
Now it's the death drive. Time for the death drive. Time for everybody to go home. Rose McGowan's like, okay, I'm going to get in your car, stuntman Mike. And he's like, well, look, here's my car. It's death proof. You can't die in it. And there's like this acrylic partition between the driver and passenger sides. But everything that seems creepy is like, no, there's a reason for that. That's where the camera has to go. And it seems weird that there's no seat. No, here's a seat. I just pulled it out. No, you sit on this stool. Okay.
Well, and now I can't get fresh with you. See, this whole thing is very incel coded, right? Like he keeps getting fucking dismissed and disrespected, and he reacts to none of it. He's right there when those two stupid fucking guys are making fun of him. He can hear it.
Yeah.
But he knows he's going to kill a lot of ladies later. The ones those guys want to fuck, he's going to fuck them with his car. So like, it's all part of it. It's like, he's gooning like this. Yeah. Keep going. Keep telling me I ain't shit. And so when Rose McGowan goes, is by that group and she says those two things, he's old enough to be my dad. I'm not going to fuck him. He's like, oh, I can't wait to kill you with my car.
Well, that's real confidence, We should all try to be like Stuntman Mike without the murdering part. Like, he's got it figured out. Like, it doesn't matter what some fucking idiots at the bar say about you. You're cool as hell.
Absolutely. That would be nice. That would be nice. I don't know that can be. But yeah.
It can be.
Take
Just
it like
yourself.
Take it like Stuntman Bob, who probably didn't kill anyone.
Or take it like Pam, who's like that potato case, but not down my chocolate milk. You gotta have that confidence. So the death happens. It's pretty cool. Anybody have any thoughts about the
the murder of all of them?
The murder of Pam, of Rose McGowan. It happens very fast. He's like, "She going left or right?" And she's like, "Right." And he's like, "Oh, well, in that case, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you."
That's a well observed, nice little taunting speech. That was very horror movie, the way he delivers that bad news, and just I'm always very impressed with actors who get that like timing right of like when would it click for me, and it washes over her just right, and the smart. What is it? What I'm trying to do? Bargaining? Mm-hmm. This is a joke. You're a funny joke guy.
No, I know it's a joke.
So
I know
realistic.
You're just joking. Yeah, so just let me out and it'll just be a good joke.
That Rose McGowan. She's good in a horror movie.
But he kills her. And then he's like, now I got to catch me my other girlfriends, as he looks at the other ladies in the pictures.
Chris, you're really into horror. Do you have a favorite kill?
In this movie?
Yeah. Or moment?
Oh, probably Jungle Julia.
The leg. The fucking leg.
So terrifyingly realistic because Emily likes to put her leg out the window like that.
Yeah.
And ever since I showed her this movie, she's never done it since.
Good. Show her Hereditary so she doesn't put her head out the window as well.
That's the kid riding the school bus hearing about like once there was a kid who stuck their arm out the window on the bus and then it got broken off by a tree or something.
Yeah.
By a bear.
That happens.
I'm sure it happens, yes. But yeah, you get to see it 4 different times. You get to see each of the individual kills. My favorite is
the head.
Arlene getting run over in midair. Awesome. And now we meet the sheriff.
Probably really fucked up his rims.
Probably really did when you think about it. So, well, we've already talked about this, but yeah, these bumpkin sheriffs are like, no, we can't, the law says we can't do anything to keep this guy.
I'm just noticing that fucking police officer with fucking 5 dead people didn't even bother to put on a shirt. He's in an undershirt and they're related. That's right. Am I wrong? That is his dad. And then the doctor is his daughter. Okay.
Yeah, that's his son. Yeah.
Okay. And who is getting all the respect in the world, who is getting told all the information, and then the fucking doctor comes over and she just gets nothing. She gets no respect.
Dr. Block.
Doctor, is it Block? I keep hearing Dr. Bob.
But like this sheriff, he has accurately figured out who Kurt Russell is and like the psychology of why he does this. This is like the end of Psycho, where the psychiatrist has to explain to people in 1960, here's why he's dressing up like his mother. That 5-minute monologue that goes on way too long where they explain. It's in this movie, but it's just in the middle of the movie, which is interesting.
But that's why it's so poisonous. That's why that's what he's illustrating, is that there are men who know what other men are like, but it would just be too much of a bother to stop them. But they can show up with a shotgun at their front door if a boy comes over. Like, no, I'll protect my girls. Mm-hmm. I'll protect something like in this area and if they're pretty. But I'd rather watch the NASCAR circuit than make sure that man never kills again.
Well, yeah, and he is literally a Texas Ranger. The idea of like, where this is Texas, this is the frontier. We just protect our own. I'm just here to protect my homestead.
Texas horror movies are definitely they're in Texas. I feel like we've said that before. There's no Texas horror movie where that's not part of the point.
The only thing that takes place in Rushmore.
Oh, that does not feel
Wes Anderson movies, at least his early movies, take place in Houston. You're like, oh, I don't think of them as Houston movies.
Wait,
or Texas movies.
Is that because he's like fucking Kubrick and so he just pretends London is everywhere else?
No, it is Rushmore Academy is in Houston, but Wes Anderson is from Houston.
Okay.
But that's what I've been to Houston. Houston is just an anonymous big city with no character.
It's like when Louisiana stuff is we're in a Louisiana movie and it's not the point. Sometimes we can just talk and not eat crawfish while we're doing it, fuckers.
So now it's
Matt.
14 months later. We're in Lebanon, Tennessee, and it's in black and white. But the grain is gone. The fake grain is gone. The camera work is less frenetic. It's now moving slowly, more deliberately, almost like a Quentin Tarantino movie. And Kurt Russell, yes, Laci.
Do you think that when he did the auditions for who was going to play this movie, he just asked for feet? Because I feel like he starts at the feet, goes up.
I think, I think that's the first
because
part.
Rosario Dawson's like already a big deal when this happens. Uh-huh. She's hot as shit. And that leg moves. I can't stop picturing her leg move with the pow at the end. Anyway. But the feet are good.
The first thing he says is like, but it's not weird. It's not weird. But like, feet, please. Mm-hmm. But not weird. Not in like a weird way.
Just need their headshot.
It's for cinema. Yeah. Kurt Russell pulls up to this convenience store parking lot and sees some sexy babes in a nearby cart. And they're having these normal conversations that sexy babes have of, I was making out with him and then I made him stop. And it's very similar to the conversation from earlier. But these women, they're not exactly the same. For one thing, they listen to iPods and not LP records. We got Rosario Dawson.
They also all have a job.
Okay.
And are all... Well, that's their thing. They're a little bit older, probably. And I don't know. I think he's showing a set of girls that are just a little more capable.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is Lee. Tracy Thomas is Kim. They all work together on a movie that is shooting here. And Kurt Russell goes and kind of tickles Rosario Dawson's feet and she doesn't react. So he, as Laci said, gives it puts the lick on it.
Puts the lick on it.
And then she's like, ah! And then he...
My goddamn keys!
Where the hell are my keys? Here they are!
Oh, there we go.
Rosario Dawson gets out of the car, watches stuntman Mike peel away, but then notices him down the street, and that's when it shifts to color. Ah, understanding now. She is a little...
more aware.
Yes. So now it's in color, and at this point, it is just a straight Quentin Tarantino movie, filmed like a Quentin Tarantino movie, paced like a Quentin Tarantino movie. They pick up their friend Zoe from the airport, who is playing herself, Zoe Bell, a real stunt woman, Uma Thurman's stunt double for Kill Bill. She's the stunt coordinator for Tarantino's movies. She started off working on Zelda as Lucy Lawless's stunt double. She's a fellow Kiwi like Lucy Lawless. And we see Kurt Russell taking pictures of them coming out of the airport. So they explain, they're like, we're working for director Cecil. He is just the coolest. And then I was like, oh, that's why Laci said that. This Cecil is Quentin Tarantino.
And he forgives himself for cheating because he did the mixtape. Like he's propping up that there could be a guy that's it's okay to forgive for guy bad behavior, especially if you're not putting out, as long as he's also really thoughtful and interesting.
Yes.
As a mansion.
So what's more like wish fulfillment for QT? Is it this? Is it women saying how amazing and sexy it is for a man to make you a mixtape?
Yes. Around a table at a diner? Fuck yes.
Or is it Kill Bill when Uma Thurman's laying on the ground and just staring lovingly up at David Carradine as he blows his stupid little flute and tells the most boring story ever?
Damn it. I don't know which.
And then I went to meet the master and then
fart shit piss. I know.
You're like, this is all Tarantino has ever wanted, is a woman to lay on the ground and listen to his boring stories.
Oh, I don't know which one.
They have their conversation here that's a lot like the Pulp Fiction conversation, and then they have the Reservoir Dogs conversation at the diner in like this crazy elaborate one shot, like no cuts. It goes on for I don't know how long. So just imagine how much they had to fucking eat and rehearse and probably fuck up and have to start all over from the very beginning. What do we think of this scene? Do we like this scene?
It doesn't. It flows. It's more realistic than the others. And I think maybe it's the one shot that makes it feel so real. It feels like the shot of fucking Roseanne, the opening of that show where they're all sitting around. It's a one shot of them having dinner. I'm like, This harkens back to Roseanne, to the opening of Roseanne. You know, Chris, are you with me?
I like this scene because they start talking about cars.
Oh God.
So Zoe, who loves cars, she explains she's in town and she found out in the paper, as of yesterday in this town, there's a 1970 Dodge Challenger with a white paint job for sale. And she looks over at, let's see, Kim, Tracy Toms, and they're like, oh, Kowalski from Vanishing Point, because they're the gearheads, these two. They fucking love cars. And the other two, these women, they like Gossip Girl and American Idol and girly stuff. Am I right? But they explain like Vanishing Point kicks ass. It's this great car chase movie. And I want to go pretend like I'm going to buy the car, but instead I just want to test drive it and go with me, please. So that's what they're going to do. And they go talk to the guy who's selling the car, played by Jonathan Lofgrum, who is Adam Sandler's assistant. You might remember him from every Adam Sandler movie.
Yes.
Zoe Bell tells Kim she wants to do the ship's mast, and Kim freaks out because she promised never to do it again. And I love that Zoe says like, I meant it, but not in America.
I will point out that the only woman that's not there to like get herself out of a pickle is the one dressed as a cheerleader.
Yeah.
And the one that has probably the job that is like the least down to earth. She's the actress.
She's the actress, yes. But I mean, yeah, I don't know.
She's in a fucking magazine. Like she's not meant to be taken seriously.
So she's not like an Uma Thurman actress. She's like a bitch.
And I would guess it's because Uma does a lot of her own fighting, right? Like Uma's down to train.
Yeah, Uma gets in there.
This seems to be an actress that's like wears her fucking costume off the set. You're off for 3 days. Why are you wearing that wardrobe? You're causing them a fucking headache. Asshole.
And they leave her. They leave her with the creepy car guy so that they can go do their joyride. They go out, and I love how, and Rosario Dawson wants to come, and I love how mean they suddenly are to her because they're like, you don't understand what we're trying to do. But then I love Rosario Dawson getting into it now. She's a little skeptical, but then she is like, oh, I get it. This kicks ass.
Okay, wait. I like that she stands up for herself because this kind of dynamic happens a lot in friend groups. And it's like, look, you guys think that you have so much in common, but maybe that's because when you go do the stuff that you are later going to say, I don't like, it's because you went and did it without me. So maybe quit deciding what kind of woman I am and let me decide if I don't like something by experiencing it. It's like as soon as you have a kid, you get put in this like, oh, you don't do stuff group. And because you do makeup, well, you must be a girly girl. No, how about maybe I'm an artist? I do makeup, but I also do special effects makeup. That doesn't make me... Don't put me in a box, Kim. That's what I'm saying. Sorry.
No, they need to... Yeah.
They need to hear it. They need to know how I feel.
So what they're going to do, what Masthead is she rides on the hood of the car real fast.
Yeah, it's a little less.
Well, it's just one of those things that's like, because they're doing it for real.
Yeah.
But I've seen movies and I've seen fucking Vin Diesel fly his car into space that a woman just being on the hood of a car going really fast. I know it's real and it is thrilling, but maybe there's a part of you that's like, that's all there is.
Well, it is, but like I didn't realize I knew this woman must be like a real person because why else she doesn't totally fit even though she's beautiful, she's not what they are. That adds a lot to it. And I think that's really cool. This is something Quentin Tarantino does really well. Celebrates the uncelebrated. For her to get to do this shot and get the credit as her and not the just the sexy body of someone else who's going to get all the face credit.
That's a good point.
It's really fucking cool.
Yeah, because she had never acted before. And he's like, well, yeah, so but you're not playing a character. We're literally, and in the credits, it's Zoe Bell as herself.
Yeah.
To let you know this is important that it's her.
Yeah.
And if it makes it cooler, these scenes were filmed at 90 miles an hour. She was on the hood of that car at 90 miles an hour.
Absolutely. And my whole thing with this movie is like, I've enjoyed this movie so far. Basically for the last like 25 minutes, I'm like, this is pure like ecstatic joy. This is what movies are about. This is why they're special. There's nothing like, this is beautiful. It is so thrilling. It is again, what I love Rosario Dawson, like when suddenly she understands why this is so cool and they're so happy. And then you see Kurt Russell eyeing them with binoculars and decides he's going to go start ramming them.
Well, and this isn't even when he was probably going to do his thing, right? He does his shit at night.
Yeah.
But he sees them in a provocative outfit, and I just mean that as a metaphor. She put herself on top of a car. She put herself in a precarious situation. I cannot not exploit this. You know, like when a female is doing something that a man thinks is, oh, they want it, then they go try to get it. And I love that it's turned on its head. He doesn't see it for what it is, which is this is a badass who is also a stunt person. You maybe shouldn't go fuck with your equal, who you perceive as that. Like, this is actually the stupidest thing you could be doing because you seem to want to go for people who are really intoxicated, very dainty, not expecting it, and complete out of control. They're in a box in your fucking death machine. To switch to this is a little off. It's not his thing. So he got so aroused by someone so like him.
Here's a bad analogy.
Bit off more than he could chew.
Here's a bad analogy. I remember somebody pointing out when Alec Baldwin was acquitted of the charges of involuntary manslaughter or whatever it was for the thing on Rust. Somebody pointed out, like, the prosecutor in that case, this goes to show you prosecutors don't understand how to go up against people with actual defenses. Like they're used to fighting poor people. They're used to prosecuting poor people who can't afford lawyers who can put up like a proper expensive defense.
With experts and
totally don't actually have the skills to do it.
Right.
And Kurt Russell's like, yeah, I go after drunk women late at night. But here I'm going against these extremely capable and aware and motivated women.
But like he probably
gets owned.
Gets the same charge out of it. Like, okay, this is going to be hard, but it's going to be career defining. Like it'll have been worth the challenge. And he's having a great fucking time. But he's also someone that you can tell, although he's a stuntman and he gets hurt all the time, he doesn't seem to be someone who gets wounded by someone else. Because he is crying like a little bitch very fast. And probably because it's his driving arm. And he still has a lot of driving to do. Probably that. But you can tell someone who isn't used to the flip.
And they're like putting up a good fight in evading him. And eventually they make him spill over and he gets out and he like he's almost like he's going to congratulate them like the compatriots and like he's actually now going to leave. And he's like, ladies, that was fun. Now, adios. And then they shoot him. Which fucking rules? Oh, we forgot to mention.
Yes.
The thing about Kim is always packing a gun. And then Rosario Dawson is like a good liberal who points out guns, you're more likely to shoot yourself than shoot like some maniac. But here, no, guns are good. They're good in movies.
They're good in the Wild West, and they are in the West right now.
Yes. And he, like you said, becomes a little bitch and gets terrified and jumps into his car and drives away like a little piss boy.
Well, and so there's a lot of wish fulfillment here too, right? Like, oh, this would be the end of the slasher. Even if you did shoot him, it's still the end for fucking...
Michael Myers?
No, love.
Jason Voorhees.
Allow me. Sydney and Scream. Jesus Christ. Sydney and Scream, right? She shoots, but then it's still over because the cops come. But that's not what this is, because often the law doesn't come. Like the first half of the movie, the law did fucking nothing. This guy was going to get away with it. We need to kill him. He must be stopped. We can't prove what he's doing because it's too fucking crazy. Plus, I was on the hood of a car. I was in a provocative outfit. I was asking for it. We're no angels. We have to fucking kill him because he will keep getting away with it.
I think it's more elemental than that. I think it is literally just like, fuck that guy. And they want to just go get him.
Okay, fine. I built a beautiful theory, but I guess we could just do
those
what you're
thoughts
saying.
will come later. Drives away like a little piss boy.
You just want to say piss boy.
Yes, I do. The three women, Zoe gets up. She's like, I'm okay. Because she, got thrown like 150 feet.
She's a cat.
Yes. And she is so happy. And she's like, that was a close one. Where's the maniac? And Kim's like, I shot him and his punk ass sped off. You want to go get him? And she's like, oh, hell yeah.
Does it not make you wonder what the fuck happened in New Zealand? That where she cried and said, never let me do the masthead again. She jumped up from this laughing. This was a laughing event? What the fuck happened before? All right.
I would need the Young Zoe Chronicles. We'll just call it Belle.
We'll call it G'day.
G'day.
Wait, shit. Do they say that in New Zealand?
Sure. Of course they do.
Fucking know.
Of course. Chris.
Why would he know?
They say g'day in old New Zealand, in Auckland.
I'm gonna go with yes. I think their slang is pretty similar between the two.
See,
Chris,
the only difference is one's a Kiwi and one's an Aussie.
That's the only difference.
Okay.
They tell Rosario Dawson, like, hey, you might want to get out of the car. And she's like, fuck that. Let's kill this bastard. And it fucking, oh my God. It's so, it's so fun. And like I said, this is Quentin Tarantino female characters gaining self-awareness and turning against their creator. But it's also, I mean, it is like turning the tables on the slasher.
He gives women power in a lot of his movies, or in all of his movies. I think you're onto something, but I think it's him giving the exploited the power.
It's like, yeah, somebody like The Bride has like agency. This is somebody like Bridget Fonda's.
Bunny.
Like Bridget Fonda's character who gets, just killed by Robert De Niro in a parking lot because she keeps mouthing off to him. This is like if she suddenly became aware, like, hey, a guy wrote you and directed you so that he could ogle your feet.
Right.
She'd be like, oh, that doesn't sound good.
You're going to be exploited in this movie. But don't worry, I'm in defeat.
But it's, turning the tables on the slasher. And what do we always say about slashers, Laci? What is that?
It's a euphemism for fucking.
Yes.
Penetration. Matt loves to talk about.
Well, because I mean that's like slasher 101. The knife represents the penis.
Matt, I know. And God damn it. Just hit play. Just hit play on the fucking recording of you saying that before.
Zoe Bell picks up a giant pole.
Yes.
And then they get in the car. They're going to go literally ram the other car. And what does Kim, as she drives the car, say? She's talking about
motherfucker. Yeah, take
about
that.
Kurt Russell's car. She says, "You're gonna." She like suggests his car is an ass. You're going to wiggle it at me? Oh, you don't like it up the ass, do you? I'm going to bust a nut up in this bitch right now. I'm the horniest motherfucker on the road. You know I can't let you go without tapping that ass one more time. They are going to fuck him literally to death.
Yes, Matt.
It's all about
It wasn't
sex.
lost on me.
Okay, good. This was all filmed in California, just like Vanishing Point. It looks like Vanishing Point. I like that he thinks he's lost them, but they get right back up to him and he just like, I was just kidding. I didn't mean it. I love I didn't mean it. They finally make him flip. They drag him out of the car and he is wailing like a dying pig. And they just beat him to death.
I love it. I love that that's the way he dies, just by their hands, and that they're capable. It hurts, but they keep going. And I'll say this is maybe the only time I've ever enjoyed a freeze frame. It's such a good one.
Yeah. And
that it unfreezes in time for the fucking drop kick of your life.
I love that. We don't need anything else. We don't need to go. But what about Mary Elizabeth Winstead back at the guy? Who cares? Yeah.
She was a cheerleader. She had it coming.
Is there going to be a police investigation? Don't worry about that. It's just over. It's just over. But it's like, sometimes in a Friday the 13th or Halloween sequel, there will be a Jason Hunter or a Michael Hunter who will show up. And it's like, the reason that these slasher hunters never succeed is because like they want to do it to stop the killer and protect the innocent. But it's like the only way to stop a killer is you got to also not care. You got to also reject the rules of society. And it's like, for him, he never expected someone would just come right around and do exactly what he was doing back to him.
Right.
And that's why it is so easy for them to catch him.
Okay, so he sees the ultimate prey instead of seeing the ultimate adversary. He's fucking stupid. He's short-sighted and patriarchal. I love men.
Men rule.
I feel I don't mean to be that voice
Folks,
constantly.
we love men.
I'm sorry. I just feel like that don't mean to be like eating the low-hanging fruit here. I'm trying to say things that are thoughtful.
Okay.
And not obvious.
Well,
damn it.
That's the movie. That's Death Proof.
We got to the end.
Let's go around the room and give our final thoughts and star ratings. Letterboxd rules apply out of 5 to Death Proof, starting with our great guest, Cinema Chris.
Every time I watch, it's always 5 out of 5. No questions asked.
Okay.
Always will be.
And what's your top Tarantino movie?
Death Proof.
Death Proof. Wow.
But that's because
For an
it's-
enjoyment
just,
level.
Yeah.
On a
What's second?
technical
I just
level, it's
need-
Kill Bill.
Kill
Which
Bill
one?
1 or 2?
Volume 2.
Me too. Volume 2 is mine as well.
Oh,
But Pulp
volume-
Fiction is my number 1, and then Volume 2.
I prefer Volume
I
1.
know. No, you're not wrong either. You're not wrong. I watched them
No,
side
you're
by
not.
side, and I'm like, but Volume 2, I like the stories in that one more.
But we'll probably do a Kill Bill episode one day, but I don't think I've said this on the podcast before. My problem with Kill Bill is Bill.
I
think
know.
Bill sucks.
He's supposed to suck, but
I
he
know.
sucks in a way that that it's not the way you think.
And when I say that, people are like, yeah, he's a bad guy. I'm like, no, he's boring.
no.
I hate watching him.
There's no charisma. Uma should not be with him. No, I disagree.
And like, and even that, it's like, yeah, isn't that the point that this has all been leading to this dipshit? But like,
no, you're supposed to definitely buy that he's the kind of guy that could like be a Charles Manson. Like he's got groupies. Like he brings in killers. Like you're supposed to buy that, and for you're not buying that. And I think that's an interesting take. I don't know that you're definitely not alone in it, but I think he's doing a good job as what he's supposed to be doing here.
what other car movies do you like? Give us some good car movies.
Herbie?
I love like the Fast and the Furious movies. I do love Herbie Fully Loaded.
Oh, Herbie. It's Herbie, not Kirby.
he knew.
I knew what you memeant.
No, I yeah.
I'm not as big into like car movies so much as like real cars. Like
Yeah, there's a difference. Like a car show, I find I love watching what people do. They are art. I will never disagree that is something so beautiful about a classic car that a new car could never. I know that.
I have such a thing with cars that I could tell you what every single car in Death Proof is, including what Shanna drives, which is a boring ass Honda Civic, a 1996 Honda Civic. But I know what each year and make and model of each car is between Stuntman Mike and the other girls and everything.
And is this something you can just tell, or you have to look it up?
No, I can just tell.
No, that's what he's saying. Right, yeah. Like a car goes by on the street and you're like, this. Yeah.
Exactly,
The way you are with Oscar winners.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, and the way you are with fucking sports jerseys.
His seems more impressive.
You just know.
I do remember numbers, jersey numbers, yes.
Yes. Of spanning like 4 sports though.
Well,
That's very impressive.
And certain positions will wear a number and I'll be like, oh, that's not right.
Right, like you're out of your number scope.
Yeah. When wide receivers wear number 14, I'm always like, that's no.
You're kind of in the quarterback number.
Anyway, favorite Fast and Furious movie?
Honestly, just the first one.
The first one, I like the first one a lot too. I feel like it doesn't get as much love.
I feel like that's the best one.
Yeah, I think
It
it's
had
got
all
that
of the
story
stuff.
And, yeah.
Yeah.
I think for fans, the later ones are when it becomes, the globe-trotting like spy movie adventures.
Yeah, but I'm okay. I you can appreciate an evolution, but still, like, I think I'm more
prefer the
interested
street
in
racing
where it
aspect.
started.
Yeah. Lacey, star rating for Death Proof?
You're not gonna believe it. I forgot to think about this.
What?
Yeah, I don't know. Quentin Tarantino's always a 5 for me. Because there's just this movie. I wasn't blown away, but it's still better than, it's a more thoughtful and layered than almost anything that comes out on streaming. So I have to give it a 5. Just out of principle.
I think I'm going to go with 3.5.
You fucking loser.
But again, 20 minutes of just pure joy at the end, and it's all worth it. And everything leading up to then is good. But I think that the thing that makes the movie special is the final car chase sequence, and Kurt Russell, just in general, just a fascinating performance from one of my all-time favorite actors. Cinema Chris, thank you so much for being on the show with us. Can you tell everybody where they can find you online?
TikTok and Instagram and Letterboxd are all at Cinema Vault. And also there is a new project that is going to be coming out soon, but I don't have enough information to tell you more than that yet. But look out for it soon.
Okay, well, we'll say what it is once it's out on the podcast.
Yeah, because all you just said was there's a thing.
Right, but they're not going to know what to look for. Okay.
I know not what it is. I know not what it's called.
To be mysterious, you know.
You've done it.
We're asking questions. We're hypothesizing. Like, did he make a video game?
I'm thinking it's a podcast.
I can tell you is it's a podcast. And it's between me and somebody else, and it's about movies.
Oh, it's got to be Kodak.
I don't like the sound of this.
It's got to be Kodak. He's the one that's been dying to have a podcast. I don't know.
It's not Kodak.
All right. Don't shake your head no, because I'll keep going. We'll get to the bottom of this.
Links to Cinema Chris on TikTok, Letterboxd, and everything else available in the description. The next episode we have coming out, Final Destination. Episode 150. I don't remember the episode number, but it coincides with the new Final Destination movie. We're doing it. The movie that is so clearly an X-Files episode that they decided we could turn this into a movie. Let's do that instead. But yeah, I love that movie. We'll talk about that next week. We have a YouTube channel, Load Bearing Beams Pod. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/loadbearingbeams. I am on Letterboxd at Matt Stokes 9. Lacey is is Load Bearing Lacey. Yep. And you can check out my band, Rural Route 9, wherever you get your music. We do the music for Load Bearing Beams. Thank you so much, everybody.
Okay, I love you. Goodbye.
Three, four. Everybody, love bearing beams, 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 Spider-Man, love bearing beams, love bearing beams, love bearing